personally, for me, if it was up to me, I would be happy to have something like this charging mechanic in game that prevents switching. I would be okay with that for me. And is there anything else, Bears, on yours about why you don't like it aside from it, in effect, forcing the fractured staff into an EOF?
I think that's the main reason. So, and it'd probably be something I get used to. But when I was messing around on the beta, it'd be like I switched to it, and then I'm like instantly like, wait, where are the buffs? Where are the buffs I'm getting? Why aren't I getting them? And it's just like that feels like those 9 seconds are completely wasted.
And 9 seconds is
I
a
didn't
lot of
like
time
that.
in some PVM encounters.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, and the only reason it could work with set 3 is because the bleeds with set 3 you're not going to be using them during Sunshine anyways, so you do your typical Sunshine rotation with FSOA, and then once you're out of Sunshine, then when you switch to it, you'll have about 10 seconds of that buff being applied for the bleeds, which probably still isn't enough, but it could in theory work.
Yeah. Okay. And see, that's interesting. You're looking at it from this perspective as just being, what is it going to do if you're using these weapons and you want to switch to something else? Because the point that I see is that we have the tier 90, the tier 92, and then potentially with this tier 95 ones, you would potentially have a class of people who just wouldn't use that tier 95 wand setup as a result of this, and they might use it for the damage, but that 2-piece set really wouldn't be a factor for somebody who's switching. So I want to talk more about switches after, but what is your favorite of the 3 potential sets that we have here? I'm gonna just run through them quickly for the people on audio who haven't been briefed on them, but they're looking at 3 potential sets here. The first one has its 1-piece set effect of increasing adrenaline gain by 25% from 8 to 10, and it consumes Insatiable, which reduces the cooldown of wild magic by 6 seconds. The second set consumes Insatiable with a 25% chance of completely refreshing the cooldown of wild magic, and the third one is an entirely different set effect that focuses on damage over time effects with magic. The first set effect increases the damage over time abilities deal by 30%, and the second one adds a new Essence Corruption stack where your dots have a 30% chance to empower dealing the damage instantly. At 25, you will deal bonus damage against enemies, which is 100% of stacks plus 100% of your magic level. And at 50, basic abilities generate an additional 3.6 adrenaline over 6 seconds. So, Bears, which one's your favorite?
Damage-wise and like rotation-wise, it was the first set. Just the consistency that you'll be able to get with that.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time with it, but I could start to see a pattern in there, and it seemed consistent, which is good. Set 2, I felt was just too RNG based. It would mess up rotations too much, which you could have the debate, is that a good or a bad thing? I personally did not like it. And then I thought set 3 though was the most fun, most unique idea. And I mean, I sat there, felt like 100% adrenaline the whole time, using thresholds and ultimates all the time, just because
I noticed that too.
So much adrenaline with the bleeds. I'm like, this is kind of fun. So I think that was the most fun. I just don't know if it's good enough yet.
Okay.
I don't think there's enough bleeds with magic.
So next, what was your favorite? What was your favorite?
So admittedly, I haven't actually been on the beta.
Okay, well, just in theory then.
I'd probably say the first one probably seems more like it would be favored more by people who like to sit down and like before they even go into the boss, plan out how they're going to handle things.
Right, the
Like
rotation,
how
the
they're
planned
yeah how
rotation.
they're yeah plan their rotation out. And I'm like that at a lot of places. Maybe not all of them. I do see the value though in say the RNG version, the second version, where you have to be more reactive to things. But at the same time, that comes with its issues. Like, say you're going for the best kill time, well, you might just get screwed over this kill. You
Yeah.
know?
I went in and I personally initially thought that number 2 was going to be my favorite, but after playing around with them, I wound up liking number 1 the best.
I guess again, I haven't tested them yet, but I guess the biggest issue that I could possibly foresee with the first one is okay, you can use all of these thresholds a lot more frequently, but do you have the adrenaline for it?
But which one do you like? Which one would you pick right now if you were picking one?
I'd probably pick the first one, mostly
Okay.
because I like to spreadsheet things out.
Okay, that's fair.
And like Bears already mentioned, the magic just is not a bleed.
No. And I think that's the biggest
Bailey's
issue with the third one is that right now the only bleeds we have are Combust and Corruption Blast.
Yeah, that's Melee's job to bleed.
Yeah. And I think you could, make a case that maybe you add Magma Tempest onto this. Maybe you add Tendrils onto this, but this would, be the third iteration, I think, of Tendrils in a recent number of years. But at the same time, you'd be kind of taking away the magic crit meta from Tendrils on that. So I don't necessarily know that that's a good idea. So I don't like the third one because it's only the 2 abilities. And, keep in mind if you're using this in group content, which, is a rarity, though, if you're doing Zamorak, maybe it's something that you would do. But I think you use range there, right, Bears?
I do, yes.
Or is magic acceptable?
It's fine. Any of the 4 combat styles are fine there.
All right. And the point I'm making is that you are overwriting somebody else's bleed if you are adding a new stack of Combust or Corruption Shot to an
That's
NPC.
also an issue.